Welcome, beautiful souls. This is your sanctuary of self-care and growth. I'm Lisa Thruston with Authentic Victories, and I'm really excited to have you here because today we're going to dive deep into the heart of self-love and explore the way yoga can play a transformative role in your self-love journey. So whether you're new to this whole self-love experience or have been walking this path for a little while, today's session is about embracing ourselves fully, one breath at a time. So we are going to get a little active today. So if you have a yoga mat, roll that out. Make sure it's somewhere safe where you can move around. Put on some comfy clothes. We're going to really tap into this space of yoga as self-care and yoga as transformation. So let's get started. Okay, so one of the ways that we can tap into self-love through yoga is to be mindful and intentional about the poses. Like there are so many different poses. I'm only going to go through 4 poses today that I really like that will help you embrace your body, bolster your self-love, and get you on this path to self-love and foster some self-acceptance. So we're going to start with some grounding poses specifically to foster in that self-acceptance. As we move into each pose, I invite you to listen to your body and honor where you are today. There is no right, there is no wrong, there is only what works for you. So we are going to start first with mountain pose. So mountain pose helps us feel connected to the earth. It's a grounding pose because literally our feet are planted into the mat. Mountain pose is just like this. We're standing on our mat. I love this one because it helps you feel connected to the earth because our feet are very much and very intentionally on our mat, on the floor, on the earth. So wherever you are, it's a very grounding pose. This is one of those where I like to feel like I have roots in my feet that are kind of going through the floor, through into the earth so that it connects us and grounds us here. This is one of those great poses where if you need a moment to center yourself, just plant your feet, keep your knees nice and soft, keep your shoulders relaxed. Just because we're a mountain doesn't mean we're standing stiff, tall, and just like locked in. We're still, mountains move. There's a little shifting. So let your legs be soft. Let your arms just kind of fall to the side. It also is a great way to connect us upward, right? So the top of our head is up towards the sky, up towards the universe, God, whatever it is that you believe in, is this expanding energy. So all of that goodness from the universe can kind of trickle down into our head, wash over the body, and kind of ground us a little bit more firmly into our practice, into our space. So this also is a wonderful pose to let you breathe, right? Because we're not sitting and we're not crunched up. We're standing nice and tall. So we get this space to let our lungs expand, to let our breath expand. So take a moment, breathe in and breathe out, right? Feel your lungs. I like to think of them like your lungs open up as an umbrella when you breathe in, and then you close that umbrella as you breathe out. So you're just taking this moment, maybe a hand to your heart, a hand to your belly, feeling yourself connected not only to your body, but to your breath. Feel your strength in this pose. You're standing upright. Like a mountain, you too can get through the hard stuff. If you want to close your eyes, if that feels good, but give yourself a moment to just really stand in this pose and be grateful for all the parts that are working together to keep you upright. Okay, next standing pose is going to be tree pose. This is going to help you find your balance. Balance, that one elusive thing that we're always chasing. Tree pose is amazing for that. Now, there's a variety of different ways to do this. I'm going to run you through a few of my favorites. So again, a very grounding pose because we're keeping at least one foot on the floor, but it's also going to encourage you to expand, to challenge your practice. So it's going to allow you to feel connected to your body and your power in a very different way because we're adding this balance element, right? So first and foremost, grab a wall. One foot planted, grounded like we were in mountain. The other foot is just going to tuck to the inside. You can bring that foot up as high or as low as you'd like, because we're opening up that hip. Now, hands can come to heart center if we're feeling really big and bold and we want to be that tree. And maybe when you're finding that balance, let yourself just kind of flow like a breeze just blows through. And it's okay if we have to step. Bring yourself right back to it. If you've got a yoga block handy, I love this as well. Maybe that's where you bring that foot as you're working on finding that balance. It'll help you feel a little bit more grounded. So use the props, use the tools you have to hand because they're going to help you. And then, of course, you're just going to repeat that on the other side. So again, you may have one side that feels a little bit stronger than the other. That's pretty normal. Just roll with it. Allow yourself to just kind of flow with this pose. Practice it. Make it your own. Let yourself be grounded again in the strength of that balance, in the strength of holding yourself nice and tall, of extending those branches up towards the sky and the sun, kind of help recharge you. Be in your power in your tree pose. All right. Our next pose is child's pose. And I'd be lying if I said this was not one of my favorite poses of all time. And I think it's because it helps me feel very protected and safe. It's a very relaxing pose. It's a very come home kind of pose and a way to just really cocoon yourself in, give yourself a moment to breathe, to honor yourself, and to tap in. What do you need today? What would relax you? And then let you kind of open up again. So from our mat, we're coming down to all fours. I like walking my knees nice and wide, big toes come back towards each other. I'm going to drop my hips back, let my arms extend, let my chest sink towards the floor, let your head relax. Options, if you want to grab a block or a pillow for your forehead to rest. If you need a little bit more support in the midsection, grab a blanket or a couple of pillows, bringing that to the center so that it can support your belly, support your chest as you sink in. Soften through the elbows. So, finding again what works for you is what is really important. Again, it's a wonderful resting pose. If you ever need a moment in your day where you need to recharge, to reset, to just again relax into that breath. And like a child, you don't have to take it seriously. Let it be fun. Find a little wiggle, find a little movement. But this is a moment to listen and honor to what that little version of you needs. So come into this space, accept yourself for all of the goofiness, the silliness, the wonderfulness that is you. All right. The final pose that we are going to go over today in our self acceptance series is Shavasana. And that's usually the final pose of any yoga class that you might go to. It's the one where you just get to lay down, right? The one where you get to just rest. This is a beautiful one to help you find calm in the busyness of your day. So whether it was crazy hectic or maybe it wasn't so bad, this is a place for you to dial in, to be present, bringing that mindfulness piece that we're going to talk so much more about on the channel. So stay tuned for more of that. It's about bringing yourself back to you. It's about finding that little calm in the storm that is your day. A chance to rest, relax, and connect to your mind, body, spirit, emotions, all of the good stuff. This is a tough one for a lot of people. I'm not going to lie. You think it's going to be relatively easy because you're just laying down, but it's a reflective pose. It's a pose to be meant to be done in calm, stillness, sometimes quiet. And so it can be that uncomfortable space where you're like, oh, shoot, now I have to actually be alone with my thoughts, be alone with myself. So I encourage you to practice this. Maybe you use it as part of a meditation if you're working on getting calm and getting still in a meditative practice. This is a beautiful one for that. But what we're just going to do is find a nice relaxing position. We're going to lay flat. If you have low back issues, I'm going to suggest bending your knees, step your feet wide, let your knees kind of relax towards the center. If you want to let your legs relax, arms are just going to fall to the side. If you need it, sometimes it can feel helpful to bring a blanket or a block or something underneath those knees to kind of support that. Let your eyes close. And again, we're breathing, but it doesn't have to be like these big, labored, fancy breaths. Just let your breath find that natural in and out. Let your body sink. This is a grounding pose as well. Can you let your body fully relax into the floor? Can you just be at one in this space? I'm not going to ask you to clear your mind of all thoughts because that's impossible, but I am going to ask, can you turn down the volume of those thoughts? Can you be like, okay, yes, I have that running list, to-do list going in my brain, but can I shut it down, turn it down just a little bit so that I can focus on, oh, I feel my breath. Oh, I smell the candle that I lit. Or maybe you're doing this in the morning, you're like, oh, I smell my coffee brewing, or whatever it is. Or maybe you have pets who just want to see what you're doing, and all of a sudden you have a cat walk across your face, or a dog lick your nose, or, kids bugging you for whatever. Can you be present in this moment and ask yourself what you truly need and feel? And be just okay with the answers. There's not a right or wrong answer. Just let yourself be present in this space. So, this is a good one. Take as much time as you need in any of these poses. Give yourself a chance to explore, find what works for you, find something that feels good to you, because that's the whole point of this, is to use these poses with your body, not to try and force yourself into a particular box because you saw how it looked on YouTube, or you saw how it looked on Instagram or a million other places. So tap into what you need today, and your practice will blossom because of it. So, another powerful self love tool, I'm sure that you probably heard a ton before, is to practice using affirmations. Now, this is powerful because it starts to build new connections in your brain and your body. So, I love using affirmations when I move, because moving my body not only moves the negative stuff out, but then it allows me space to replace it with a new message, new connections, something that feels empowering, that feels good, that's starting to rewire it. So, say you're in mountain pose, you could repeat to yourself, I am strong, resilient, and capable of overcoming challenges. For tree pose, you might say, I release negative self talk and replace it with self compassion. In child's pose, I am grateful for the journey of self discovery and growth. And lastly, for Shavasana, I am enough and I don't need to prove myself to anyone. Now, listen, those are just examples, and affirmations are very personal. And just because somebody says it doesn't mean that it's something that makes sense to you, something that resonates with you, something that sticks with you. So these are the final words on what you should use. And sometimes these big, beautiful affirmations just feel so out of reach. So back it up a step or two. You're like, I am strong. Maybe that's what you can get behind today. Or I accept myself today just as I am. So I really encourage you to make it your own. Find an affirmation that resonates with you. There are tons of them out there. Pinterest is like my go to when I'm looking for a good affirmation. And finding them and tweaking them and tailoring them so that you resonate with them, because it's not going to actually do anything if you don't start to eventually believe it. And we just, oh, I'm just repeating this really cool phrase I heard, and I don't believe it's for me. It's somebody else's, but it's not for me. So, yeah, finding one that makes sense to you. And they don't have to be about love and light. They don't have to be all flowery and crazy like that. If you swear, or if you like a more aggressive affirmation, craft a more aggressive affirmation. Something that when you hear it, you're like, oh, heck yeah, that's me. I'm not going to swear here, but I'll leave that up to you. Let it be something that you enjoy repeating and something that makes sense for you. So I want you to explore that. Drop drop your affirmation in the comment. I want to know what you have come up with. This is this whole thing is not a destination. The self-love yoga, it's a journey. So I want you to approach each time you come to the mat as another step on your path to self-discovery and love. Every practice is a new and different practice because you are different. What you did yesterday is not the same as what you're going to do today. What you need each day in your self-love journey and what you need each day in your yoga class will differ depending on you and the day. If you've had a good day, it's going to be an awesome, joy-filled practice. If you had a crap day, it might not be as challenging. It may be more subdued. So, cultivating the skill of listening to yourself and your body so that you can continue this journey of self love is so important. It's going to give you the freedom to listen to what you truly need and tailor your self love practice, your yoga practice to what's going on in you and not what your external world is telling you your yoga practice should look like. It took me a lot of years to figure out that my style of teaching wasn't like everybody else's. I am a slower teacher. I like a class that challenges me to slow down because every day is just like go, 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 go. And there's these messages that we just have to go faster and do more and get bigger and bigger. But no, when I stopped and I slowed down and I listened to my body, what I need and what I want in a yoga practice is to go internal, is to go inside, is to slow down and really take the time. Because when I slow down and I take the time, I have learned so much from my body about what it needs that has translated into my more active workouts. So when I'm doing HIIT, when I'm going for a walk, when I'm running, when I'm lifting weights, when I'm doing all those other things, because I took the time to tap into my body's wisdom when I slowed down to do yoga, I can catch those cues so much quicker when I'm doing everything else. So, this is my advertisement, my encouragement to slow down, to take a moment to listen to what your body says. And it's okay if for a while you can't translate it, you can't understand it, you don't know what's going on. I guarantee that eventually you will. But you have to give it some time so that you don't have to wait until the cues are just like this red alarm blaring, like it'll slowly start to bubble up. You're like, oh, I know what that means. So embrace your own unique path. There is no right or wrong way to approach a yoga practice. There is no right or wrong way to approach your self-love journey, because your version of self love is not the same as mine. But I am just here to give you some tools so that hopefully you are crafting a self love and yoga practice that truly inspires and lights you up. One of the best parts I found of being in this yoga community is the online support or in-person support, the community support. The love that we give and receive each other is valuable. So as we build this fun community here, drop something in the comments about what maybe you are looking for when it comes to self-love, community, and yoga. Or if you have any other questions about this so that I can tailor the next videos into something that makes sense or something that you actually want to watch and subscribe to. So if you are looking for a community, and I invite you to download my app, the Authentic Victories app. It's available in Apple and Google. So I have a growing self-love and yoga community over there. So come join us over there if you want more classes, more in-depth coaching, more community. It's really just an amazing place to be. So before we round out this amazing little space and this sanctuary of self-love, I want to talk about some practical tips you can use to bring more self-love into your daily practice. I'd be remiss if I didn't also mention some practical tips for blending self-love and yoga, because that's usually what everybody is asking first and foremost. So my first big tip, comfortable clothes that you love moving in. It doesn't have to be a fancy coordinated set unless that's your thing, but just find something that makes you feel good, something that you can move easily in. That will make a world of difference. Second, a time and a space for your practice. Make it a special thing. Make it a designated time. You deserve that. You can't grow and build this if you're only tapping into a yoga class or tapping into your self-love journey when you feel like it. No, this isn't, the rubber meets the road is when you do it on the days you're like, I just don't want to do it, but I'll move for 10 minutes. I just don't want to do that. I'll journal for 5 minutes and then I'll go do the rest of my day. This is where you have to like tap in, right? You have to make it a thing that you are prioritizing because you deserve to be prioritized. That's it. And then third, I will never ever stop singing the praises of using props, whether that's like yoga blocks, whether that's a blanket, a pillow, a towel. They will up level your yoga practice in ways that you cannot imagine. I'm going to be doing more videos about my favorite yoga props, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that, because they will transform a yoga practice faster than anything because they make it work for your body. Now, there are tons more tips, but this was just a start. I didn't want to overwhelm anybody, but stay tuned. We've got more tips coming. All right, we're going to close out today's practice with just a final moment of gratitude. First and foremost, thank you all. If you've made it this far in the video, I love you for that. Thank you so much for sharing this space with me. And remember, the love you cultivate on your mat is a love that you can carry out in the world. So be kind to yourself today. I'll see you next time.